Greetings fans, hyper fans, and people just lost looking for videos of cats on YouTube. Ace Creeper got hold of the Doctor Who triple packs, so I know that they've now hit B&M. I headed out today and I snagged the last one of these off the shelf. It's weird shopping in the lockdown, in pandemic, in almost everybody wearing masks and almost everybody wearing them properly. I'm going to get this back to the workshop and give you a review. Okay, so I'm back, and these figures they're pretty cool. This is part of an exclusive set by Character Options, who are the main toy license holder for Doctor Who, designed for UK stores B&M. We were supposed to get a few of these sets back in June, but because of the bug, everything has been delayed. So it's only in this last week of July that we're actually seeing these hit shelves. Now, the set that I wanted, luckily, was the only one that my local B&M had in stock, which is Companions of the Fourth Doctor. I got into Doctor Who very early. Tom Baker was my Doctor. I actually started with one of the episodes that is represented in this set. So this contains possibly the last classic Doctor Who figure that I really wanted. So let's break them out of their plastic prison and see how they actually fare. Now, the first thing to note about these figures is that head sculpt aside, that these are actually mainly slight resculpts and repaints of a different character option toy line. Primeval was a UK commercial TV series meant to compete against the return of Doctor Who, and basically it was a Torchwood style agency protecting the world from holes in time that were letting dinosaurs through. It was really quite good, got very weird towards the end, but the toys were a bit of a commercial flop. But having the same sculptors and having the same scale as the Doctor Who series, it kind of makes sense to reuse the pieces, and the end result being that they actually are a little bit smaller than the Doctor Who figures, but that sort of works with the female characters, and the costumes aren't 100% accurate to the show. Let's look at them one at a time. So, Sarah Jane Smith, as played by Elizabeth Sladen. I really did want to dig out my Sarah Jane Adventures figures, updated, older version of her for comparison, but I can't find it at the moment, and that's really disappointing. The face sculpt on this one, actually, you can tell that it's Liz, but it's I don't know, very simplistic. The paint is excellent, but there's very little sort of sculpted detail. It looks like the eyes and the eyebrows are printed sort of straight onto a blank face template. It's got a cut at the neck, so she can look left and right, but there's no up and down. There's no way you're going to have her squeezing through tunnels and looking ahead of her. There's no out on the elbow, it's just rotational. You have a cut at the bicep, you have 90 degrees at the elbow, and the wrists do swivel. The hand is obviously cut to hold a gun, which the original figure would have, but these don't come with any accessories. Waist swivel, very simple hip joint, knee bend, and a turn at the ankle. But for reusing the moulds, having very simple articulation, the paint detail's really good. I mean, you have sort of separate colour on the collar, you have the buttons picked out, detail's quite nice, and then of course you've got this full camo pattern on the trousers, and the soles of the boots are painted a black compared to the dark brown. Yeah, dark brown on the boots is the same paint as on the combats, but yeah, that's very forgivable. She's a very nice representation of the character. She stands practically a head shorter than the Doctor. I just did a quick look through for which episode she appears in anything like this costume in. That's the closest that I could find to it. It's not brilliant, but I can see why they've done that. Here she is next to K1, who is sporting 3D printed ankles, 3D printed feet, which don't work quite as well as I'd like them to, but rather than having no feet at all. And yeah, she's absolutely dwarfed by that figure, but so she should have been in the original. So yeah, it's really nice to get a classic Sarah Jane. I mean, her coming back for School Reunion was a big part of linking new to old Who. Sarah Jane Adventures was fantastic, and Sarah Jane is a much loved companion of both the 3rd and 4th Doctor, so it's really nice to see her get a proper figure. Next in the box we have the Doctor's first Time Lord companion, or Time Lady if you want to be 1970s about it. This is Romana as she first appears, played by Mary Tam, an assistant sent by Gallifrey to kind of keep an eye on the Doctor, but ending up in the wild adventures around the search for the Key of Time, which would have made a really nice accessory. I know that the B&M stuff usually doesn't come with them, but the first Romana wasn't really around for very long, just sort of this one story arc. And considering how many sort of really fantastic costumes she ended up with, this one's a little bit plain. She has this really fantastic pearlescent pink paint, which in the box did make me think maybe it was going to be a translucent material. The arms and the head are exactly the same articulation as Sarah Jane, although the head is far more hampered by that curly 80s perm. Plastic actually feels really soft on this, especially, I mean, the jacket obviously, but the arms, yeah, this sort of white plastic seems to have a lot more of a bend to it. The legs are a little bit more interesting because they have these universal joints so that they can separate out. I don't remember her being one for high kicks in the series, but you know, you use the moulds that you've got to hand. Has a thigh cut so you can get a little bit more turn, and no boot cut. So that's not bad at all. Face is very nicely printed, very nicely sculpted. I do wish there was a way of minimizing that cut line. She's kind of the very plain figure that they seem to have put in to fill the packet out, and she wouldn't be at all remarkable to me as a companion if it wasn't for the fact that she actually regenerated into Lalla Ward. The second Romana actually appeared in the very first Doctor Who that I ever saw, which was Destiny of the Daleks, in this outfit, and what her regeneration does for lore is about what a flock of Octoran stunt apples would have done for Isaac Newton. She regenerates about 4 times in the space of 2 minutes, just the same as trying on dresses, and ends up with the face of somebody that they met on their last adventure. So, you know, that's launched about 1 million fan theories. But she ended up being Lalla Ward, who was a fantastic foil to Tom Baker's The Doctor. The actors actually ended up getting married and messily divorced, so that's always fun. But the sculpt on this is it's really nice. It's exactly the figure that I wanted. I mean, I know that there are a lot of other costumes that Romana goes through in the series, including the infamous schoolgirl outfit, but this is the one that she came up with to gain the Fourth Doctor's favour by pretty much doing a feminized version of the costume, all the way down to the ridiculously long scarf. So I'm so happy to actually have this toy in hand. The face sculpt is amazing. It's got sort of this very playful, knowing smirk. The paint is really well done. As I said, I only saw one of these on the shelf, and I dislike it when I'm limited to, you know, take it or leave it. But when I looked at the paint on the face, it's really good. The hair, not the most brilliant at sculpting, but it's definitely sort of catches the style, if not quite the colour. The scarf is a very soft plastic, much softer than the Tom Baker scarf. The paint detail it's quite limited. You know, you have the pink, the white, and the burgundy. I think the boots are a little bit darker, but it works. The head again on a cut, but that very soft plastic on the hair means you do get a full range of motion. The shoulders again are just on a spin. Bicep cut, nice deep elbow. There is a wrist swivel for her, but it's quite stiff. The scarf is removable. The skirt kind of hampers the waist articulation. There is a thigh cut, there is that universal joint on the hip, no individual boot turn, nice 90-degree bend on the ankle. The pockets are painted on rather than sculpted in. That's a bit cheap, but it's really nice. Despite all of its shortcomings, the scarf definitely gives her the extra character. Getting it back in is a pig, so only take it out if you really want to. Let's bring in one of the classic Daleks for height comparison. Nope, I have just thought of another classic villain that I would like to get a figure of. I'd like a couple of Movellans. So, one thing I already dislike about these figures is how difficult they are to stand. I mean, obviously I am doing this at arm's length whilst I'm filming it, but I do foresee them being the ones that go head over heels in my display. But all in all, I think these are a really nice addition to the classic lineup. Well done B&M for getting these out to us despite the delays. They're about £20 at the moment if you can find them. I know that a lot of sets are being bought up en masse and ending up on eBay. International viewers, don't worry too much. Apparently you can get these on Amazon in the US and in Australia, so you're not going to have to pay scalping prices. And all in all, yeah, I'm actually ridiculously happy to finally have a Romana II. Really love the idea of adding a Sarah Jane Smith, and yeah, Mary Tam's there too. If you've enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Are there any holes in Classic Who that you would like filled? Leave your suggestions in the comments below. And until next time, if you're keeping the mint in package, you're not a toy collector, you're a box collector.